Hey, greetings everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West here, and we've moved into our new home here in Garland, Texas. It's a very nice neighborhood, very nice neighbors. It's really quiet, and we truly do miss our neighbors and our friends back over there in Woodbridge in North Lake Highlands. But Angela decided on this nice home, and I got to tell you, this will probably be my death home, as they say, where they'll drag me out by my heels. But it's good to be back with you all for another Facebook Live, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules for us to spend about 30 minutes with you, sharing thoughts, perspectives, and insights. You know the format. Normally we start out and we spend about 15 minutes talking about some of the issues that we are facing here in the United States of America and abroad. And then we turn over to the scroll screen and we try to answer some of the questions that you have. But this is our first time doing our broadcast, our Facebook Live. We got a nice little studio area here that we set up. And if you don't mind, I'll take a few moments to just kind of give you a little tour, show you some of the things that are up here on the walls. Okay, right over there, you see that's a picture of my good old friend, General George Patton. And below that, that's a picture signed by Dick Cole, who was the right seat for James Doolittle of the Doolittle Raiders. That print is number 3009 of 4,750 that were made. Over here, my tribute, the history of the American soldier, of course. And then you see my flag that commemorated my being inducted to the University of Tennessee Army ROTC Hall of Fame. Behind me, you have a couple of real nice portraits of the American flag done by an artist down in Fort Lauderdale for me. And then over here, you see that Norman Rockwell incredibly historic painting showing our military from the Revolutionary War up to World War II. I'm one of the founding members for the Army Historical Foundation. And there you see that incredible I think it's a B-25, World War II. That's an actual photograph that was taken during World War II, European theater. And speaking of which, over there, one of my favorites, that's number 71 of 600 prints, signed by Tuskegee Airman, Lieutenant Colonel Spam Watson, and you can see those red tails. They're coming back in from another bomber escort mission. The great thing about the 332nd Fighter Squadron was that they never lost a bomber in all of their escort missions. They were one of the most highly requested units for bomber escort in World War II in the European theater. So that's kind of a little tour around the studio that I have here set up. And also want to remind you, hold Texas, hold the nation, victory or death, still out there. And as you see, many people are fleeing New York and California. Can you believe Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's mom was talking about how great it is that she doesn't live in New York with all the higher taxes? She's moved down to Florida. That apple fell a long ways away from the tree. But some of the events coming up, I'll be down in Austin, Texas next Wednesday for the Texas Faith and Family Day at the Capitol. Look forward to seeing you all there. If you can come by and talk about how important it is, our faith and that foundation of the American fabric and culture, the traditional two-parent family that has really been decimated by a lot of the policies of the progressive socialist left. Then also I'll be taking a trip the following week out to Ector County, Odessa, Texas. Going to head out to West Texas to speak to the Ector County Republican women, and there's some men that are part of that organization. So March the 20th, if you're out there near Odessa, Texas, look forward to seeing you, Ector County Republican women. And then March the 13th, the previous Wednesday, I'll be at the Texas Faith and Family Day at the Capitol down in Austin, Texas. Well, let's get to some of the things that I really want to talk about. Because as you know, we were moving into our new house. And at the beginning of this week, I wrote a little missive talking about, well, she's in the news just about all the time. Representative Ilhan Omar, the congressional representative from Minnesota of Somali background and descent. It seems that this young lady has a problem with, making anti-Semitic comments, rhetoric, rants. And so she made another one this past weekend talking about dual loyalty. And of course, everyone came out of the gate condemning her. Elliot Engel, who is the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Nancy Pelosi, even Rita Lowry, the congressional representative out of New York, asked her to apologize and tone it down. Guess what? Ain't happening. So today they did vote in the House of Representatives on this resolution that they were to have, but it did not name her by name. It was very weak, very watered down, because I think that what we're starting to see is that Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer, they're not in charge of the Democrat Party. As a matter of fact, when new freshman congressional representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said that I'm the boss, I'm starting to believe that maybe she is. Because in response to what her colleague, Representative Omar, stated, she came out in strong defense. She came out and made statements saying that there should be no apology. There should not be a resolution. As a matter of fact, the resolution should talk about anti-Muslim comments and remarks as well. I don't think we got a problem with that. Really, I think the problem at hand is this freshman congressional representative that seems to have an animus toward our best ally in the Middle East, the modern day state of Israel, the Jewish state of Israel. And for whatever reason, it seems that the establishment, the elite, the old heads of the Democrat Party are afraid to confront these new progressive socialist radicals. As a matter of fact, we know that we're going to impeach the you-know-what, Rasheda Talib. She has come out and said by the end of the month, she will be bringing up articles of impeachment against President Trump. Now, what is funny to me is that no one really is talking about the fact that there's some FEC violations out there for these two of the four young freshman females out there. One of these FEC violations is against Congresswoman Rasheda Talib, $17,500. The FEC says that a campaign can provide a salary to a candidate, but it has to be during the period of the campaign. The problem is that with Ms. Talib, after the campaign was over, her campaign still was paying her money to the tune of $17,500. That's a violation of FEC, Federal Election Commission rules. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, it seems that somehow her and her chief of staff were, laundering money to go through some slush fund to private corporations that they had some dealings with to the tune of $1 million. Now, I'm just a simple old guy, went to the University of Tennessee, born and raised in Georgia, living here in the great state of Texas. Steve King got kicked off of his committees. Eliot Engel said that maybe Miss Omar should not have been on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. But as soon as Ocasio-Cortez and all the far lefties, to include Louis Farrakhan, came out and defended her, they just backed off. No one is talking about this $1 million FEC violation. If this were a Republican, yeah, man, you know what it would be all over the news. Heck, as a matter of fact, we have this little Yoda guy, Representative Gerald Nadler from New York. He's going to go after the president. He's going after the family. He's going after businesses. He's going after everything. What's the probable cause? Other than the fact that they are still mad that he won an election. See, there are no standards with this new Choom gang that used to be called the Democrat Party. Now it's just a socialist party. There's no doubt about it. FEC violations, no big deal. $1 million FEC violations, who cares? $17,500 FEC violations, no big deal. Anti-Semitic remarks, it's okay. As Nancy Pelosi said, she doesn't think that she intentionally made those comments. Well, Speaker Pelosi, I think this is like the third or fourth time she's done it since she's been a member of Congress, if I'm correct. And they've only been there, 2.5 months? We're not even talking about the comments that she made before she became a member of Congress. And then there's Representative Presley from Massachusetts, who wants to reduce the voting age down to 16. Yeah. What were you doing when you were 16 years of age? I was not prepared to go and cast a vote. But if you look at what is happening with the indoctrination of our students in high school, definitely in college, these are the little factories that are making out the next generation of mindless lemmings and progressive socialists. So why not lower it down to 16? Heck, why not lower it down to, 13, 14? This is where we are in America, folks. And all of a sudden, in 2.5 months, we haven't even really gotten into this Democrat House majority. They have gone off the rails. Green New Deal. Over in the Senate, they're voting to, well, for infanticide, killing live babies. The thing that put Kermit Gosnell, Dr. Kermit Gosnell, in prison for the rest of his life. Andrew Cuomo signed into law, and the Democrats cheered. The Senate Democrats voted for it to happen. You ever notice that we don't talk too much about old Ralphie boy from Virginia? You know, Mr. Blackface? The news cycle passed by, and he's gone. Paul Manafort gets 47 months in prison. You don't hear about Bruce and Ellie Orr. You don't hear about James Comey. You don't hear about Andrew McCabe. You don't hear about Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. You don't hear about them. You don't hear about Deborah Ramirez. You don't hear about Christy Blasey Ford. You don't hear about Julie Swetnick, because the other side only cares about one thing, and that's complete and total domination and power. They don't have any rules, but they will destroy us, the simple liberty and freedom loving people. Just the same as you see what has happened down in Venezuela. When was the last time you heard a Democrat member of the House or the Senate talk about what's going on in Venezuela and condemn it? As a matter of fact, Ms. Omar thinks that we're in the wrong. Bernie Sanders could even, refer to Mr. Maduro as a socialist dictator. And these are the people that you want to have in charge of the greatest nation that the world has ever known? The people that will say, we'll destroy you, we will put you in jail, we will crush you. If you have a conservative grassroots movement, we will unleash the power of the federal government against you. But as for us, we can do no wrong. Collusion with Russia? I tend to remember when President Obama said, after my reelection, I'll have more flexibility. I tend to remember Hillary Clinton giving the Russians a little, red box, yellow box with a red button on it called a reset button. I tend to remember this thing called Uranium One, but nothing ever comes of it. When the Russians invaded the Ukraine, Barack Obama sent socks. He canceled the missile defense program for Poland, which would have covered much of Eastern Europe. And they're talking about Donald Trump is a Russian agent. You got to be kidding me, folks. But see, if we don't pay attention to what is going on, if we don't keep pestering them, if we don't fight back, and let me tell you, everywhere I go across the country and across the state of Texas, there's one recurring theme. There's one recurring comment that I get. When are Republicans going to fight back? See, I know a Marine First Sergeant by the name of Jim Reifinger. His nickname is Finger, an incredible shooting instructor. He has a saying, and I love this saying. He says, if you ever find yourself in a fair fight, it's all because your tactics suck. We can't have a fair fight with these people because they don't believe in it. They believe in lying and deceit, in cheating, in stealing, in coercion, in intimidation, in mandates, and in violence. Just think about what happened to that young man on the campus of University of California, Berkeley. If a conservative had done that to a progressive socialist, well, we normally don't do that. We just like to beat them down with intellectual exchange because it really is fun to do it, because the next thing you know, they throw themselves on the floor and they're frothing all over the place. And I will be going to California. I'll let you know later to talk about the Second Amendment on a college campus down in Southern California. I just hope I just hope y'all come out and act stupid, because I'll get stupid and ugly with you, because I'm not going to lay down and let you take away this country. When I panned around and showed you all of these pictures, my dad was there in the European theater. My godfather was a Tuskegee Airman by the name of William Sticky Jackson. My older brother once wore the uniform of the United States military as a Marine in Vietnam. I got a nephew still serving. See, we didn't take the oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and bear true faith and allegiance to the same, to just lay down and let y'all take it away. Nah, it ain't happening. Not on my watch. And we'll figure out what position I need to be in to be a more effective fighter. But for right now, I'm going to keep the masses, the liberty-loving people of America, alert and awakened to what is happening in this country. Folks, if you really do want to see Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rasheda Talib, and Representative Presley from, I think it's Ayanna Presley from Massachusetts, run this country, you got to be off your rocker. And I think that there are people all over this country, just all over the world, sitting back and saying, when are Americans going to wake up and stand up to this? Tyranny comes in many different forms. There is no longer a Democrat Party in the United States of America. It's a socialist party that believes in wealth redistribution, that believes in the government taking over, the nationalizing of our economic production, that believes in creating and expanding a welfare nanny state, that believes in social egalitarianism, except for them. The elites will always be on top. But every one of us, well, we're just part of a collective. And they believe in secular humanism. There is an ideological battle going on in the United States of America. And just the same as Colonel William Barrett Travis did at the Alamo 183 years ago, you drew a line in the sand. Which side of that line are you going to stand on? With that being said, what are your questions? Julie Schmitz, we need a hero to lead the way. I'm not a hero. I'm just a servant of this great country. Let's see. John Bartlett, anyone notice the Democrats are saying, calling themselves the party? Where have I heard that before? Yep, the party, the Politburo, all of these things. Remember what Vladimir Lenin once said. You can look it up. You can go and check because I don't put out falsehoods. But he said the end goal of socialism is communism. Now, what does that mean? Socialism is an economic model that gets you to a societal model, which is communism, restructuring the society. So these people are talking about the beginning phases. We know where they want to go. We know who they are. They're telling us. But it's up to us to find the courage, the commitment, the resolve to say no. And look, I'm sure that there are people out there watching this Facebook Live that call themselves Democrats. Ask yourself, if this is the direction you want to go with. And my parents were registered Democrats, folks. But my parents believed in faith and family and individual responsibility, quality education, service to the nation. Those are conservative values. This party that call themselves the Democrats, they don't have any conservative values. Those moderate, quote unquote, Democrats that are there, well, the boss, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, has already said she's starting a list. It's not a list of folks that have been nice. It's a list of folks that she feels are naughty. When was the last time you heard about a political party keeping lists? All right. Valerie Eilish Pollock, Semper Fi, thank you. Tracy Neves Villalobos, hello from Texas. Wake up America. Absolutely. Texas, I tell you, what did I say? Hold Texas, we hold the nation. And for whatever reason, the progressive socialist left believes that Texas is in play. You know, you've got Julian Castro that's running for president, used to be the mayor of San Antonio. And you've got old Bob O'Rourke. He's thinking about it. Texas is going to produce 2 progressive socialist candidates for president. Never forget that the president, one of the most progressive presidents that brought in the era of the Great Society that completely decimated the inner city communities, was a man from Texas, Lyndon Baines Johnson, former senator. Think about it. Don Cox, we must draw the line. Now we must fight in every way. Absolutely. Let's see who we got. Chris Williams from Baltimore, Maryland. Thanks so much for tuning in. You guys got a big task up there in that state of Maryland. David Cross, I'm from Tennessee and agree. We have let them take over. We don't give up. We don't give up. Absolutely not. Let's see. Marcia KM Razad, I have family who live in Oregon who refuse to vote to help save our country. They are stubborn and say all politicians are crooks. Not true. See, this is what we need to understand. We don't need more politicians. And this is the difference between a politician and a statesman. A politician is going to tell you what they think you want to hear, not what you need to hear. A statesman is going to tell you what you need to hear. A statesman is going to lead you through tough times, but he's going to tell you about the tough times. See, we have to look at ourselves as the citizens of the United States of America and ask, do we really want to be told the hard things? See, the easy thing for the progressive socialist left, they just go out and say, we're going to give you stuff. Everything's going to be free. Free education, free houses, free health care, everything. Where does it come from? That's never the question that they answer. It's not about, the price tag. It's all about feeling good. And so I'm sure that 20 years ago, when Hugo Chavez came to power down there in Venezuela, and the most prosperous country, one of the most prosperous in this hemisphere, and all of a sudden he started talking about, I'm just going to give you stuff. And everyone said, that sounds really nice, really cool. That's how it always begins. You know how it also always begins? Is in June of 2012, when Hugo Chavez outlawed private gun ownership. That's how dictators get control over you. That's how citizens are turned into subjects, and they're gunned down in the street, like what you see. Can't happen here. Don Cox, you should still be in Congress fighting for us as well. Sometimes God closes the door and opens up a better one, Don. And it's all about your heart and your spirit. Don't need to be in Congress to fight for America. Paratroopers, wherever they land, they fight. That was the key thing with the airborne drops in D-Day. A lot of them got, dropped, missed their drop zones and things of this nature, but wherever their feet landed, they fought. That's the key thing. Wherever your feet are, I don't care if you're in Maryland, I don't care if you're in Oregon, I don't care where you are, California, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, you're in Texas, you got to fight. It's worth it. Because you got to look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and ask, what are you doing to pass on a better America to your children and grandchildren? Let's see. Natalie Callaham, I'm so glad to catch this show. Not a show. We're just sharing thoughts and perspectives. This is a place where patriots come together. And sometimes we get those, chuckleheads to try to come in here and they, make their insidious comments. But that's okay. That just shows that they have nothing between their ears. They're just mindless lemmings. And they're going to do everything that they can to disrupt us who want to make sure that we preserve this great constitutional republic. Daryl Etter, what's the best way to fight them? The best way to fight them is to educate yourselves. You need to read books like Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. You need to read the Communist Manifesto. You need to read books like Democracy in America by Alexis de Tocqueville. You need to read the essay, The Law, by Frederick Bastiat. You need to read and understand history. But the most important thing, Daryl, if we're going to win, we have to win in our homes. We have to win in our communities, in our neighborhoods, in our churches. We have to stop being afraid to stand up and take a stand. Because every time that the other side calls you a name, racist, sexist, homophobe, Islamophobe, xenophobe, disophobe, dataphobe, what they're doing is they're trying to get you to self-censor. That's why some of them will come on and make their stupid little comments, because they're trying to, distract, disrupt. What you need to do is go on the offense. We don't need to defend America. We don't need to defend the Constitution. We don't need to defend our history. This is a great nation. We are every single day forming a more perfect union. Now, the thoughts and perspectives of the other side, these progressive socialists, ask them where has that ever been successful. And don't tell me Denmark or Scandinavian countries, because those are still free market, free enterprise, capitalist countries. I mean, there are more people in the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex than there are in Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. Maybe almost put together. So they're small countries. They have a very homogenous society. They can do more and take care of their people more so But to try to say that here in the United States of America, we're going to take away individual will, drive, and determination because we're just going to have a government that gives you everything. This morning, I had to go down and get my new driver's license because I moved over here to Garland, Texas. I was given a number and I sat down and waited to go up. I don't want my health care to be like that. This whole thing about Medicare for all, taking away the choices, the options that I have to be able to go out and get my own health insurance. I tell you what, when the folks up there, those Senate progressive socialists and House socialists, when they put themselves on the same type of healthcare system as the Veterans Administration, then we can talk. Otherwise, they're just bumping their gums, and I ain't listening. Matt Couch, congrats on the victory over Kentucky the other day. Hey, let me tell you what, I figured that we split between Kentucky, them winning at home, and then hopefully us winning home. The good thing was that we showed that we could make adjustments. Of course, we're talking college basketball because, folks, it's March Madness. It's the madness, one of the greatest times in sports in the United States of America. That's something unique to us. That's what I love about America. We built that. John Naismith, thanks so much. Abner Doubleday, baseball, boys of summer, they're coming. But for right now, it's the madness, baby. Conference tournaments, then the big one, the NCAA tournament, the big dance. Hopefully Tennessee can go a little bit deeper into it than they did last year. But always, it's going to be a Cinderella. Last year was Loyola of Chicago. Who will it be this year? Okay, Jane Sullivan, please tell us what we can do. We truly need your help. Again, the most important thing we can do is educate ourselves first and foremost, and then we got to talk to our children and grandchildren. Too many times, adults have ceded their responsibility and authority to other people, and other people are inculcating your children with the principles and values that they believe in. When you look at our schools, it's not about education anymore, it's about indoctrination. And ask yourself, why is it that, the progressive social left is all about choice when it comes to killing unborn babies or even live babies now. But when it comes to choice and educating, truly a parent being able to choose and decide where they want their child to be educated, no way, ain't having it. Why don't we make them defend that? Why don't we go into those inner city communities where these public schools are failing and say, look, we're here with you. We don't want you to continue down the path of economic enslavement. We want you to be economically empowered. The best way to be economically empowered is to arm this, the ultimate weapon, your brain. But that's what we have to do, Jane. We got to get out there and we got to, like I say, start in our homes, start in our communities, our neighborhoods, start in our churches, and we have to talk about this thing. But we got to educate ourselves first because we have to be able to go out there and win the ideological debate. And when they start yelling and screaming and calling you names, you continue to press on. You press harder. You stay on the offense, never on defense. You don't win on defense. Let's see. America believes in liberty and individual freedoms, not socialism. That's true, Chet. But the thing is that most of our kids are hearing that socialism is great. Because why? They're teaching Marx and Engels and other, socialist far left writers. They're not teaching Hayek economics. They're teaching Keynesian economics. They're not teaching Milton Friedman. They're teaching everything that is undermining the fabric of this great nation. That's why we got to stand up and fight back against it. But first, we got to educate ourselves. And that's why I love coming on every other week, 30 minutes with y'all, just firing you up. You got to stay fired up. It's fourth quarter. We're down by 2 touchdowns, but we can win this game. I don't care if we got to kick a field goal in the last minute. 2020 is going to be here. It's 21 months away, but it's going to be here pretty quick. As a matter of fact, all those 14, maybe you'll end up being 15 or 16, but they're going to start having their debates in June. You need to pay attention. You need to listen to them. And your friends that believe in that nonsense, you need to challenge them. Okay? Don't run away from them. If they unfriend you, they were never your friend in the first place. Because anyone that wants to destroy this great United States of America, they ain't your friend. So get over it, folks. Friends don't let friends vote for socialism. Let that be our new motto. All right, a couple more. Michael Bollinger, educate your children. Don't trust what the schools are teaching. They're not really teaching anything. Uh, we got this weirdo by the name of Michael Fallon. He's a jerk bait. But anyhow, he's talking about conservatives are boring. Conservatives are really happy people. I think it's you progressive socialists that are always angry, always upset. You know why? Because you ain't got nothing. You got nothing between your ears. And most of you are living in your basement, screwing around. And you just want someone to lead you and give you stuff because you don't have the courage and the will and determination to go out there and work hard and earn it yourself. Conservatives are really happy folks. You know why? Because we work hard. We play even harder. Okay? But you guys, weak, sorry, pathetic. You guys don't enjoy March Madness. You know why you don't enjoy March Madness? Because someone is going to end up being a champion, some team. You don't believe that people should be champions. That's sad. So go back to your mama's basement and, play video games. Leave us adults alone. Donna Lay, Congress passed a resolution today to ban free speech. Donna, pretty much so. I mean, what they could not be specific in the House of Representatives to talk about Representative Omar. So what they tried to do is just make it like a big old thing of gumbo and just say you can't say anything about anybody anytime. That's a real problem. When we have a political organization that cannot condemn people for making these incredibly insidious comments, when we say never again, we should mean never again. Never again for the Holocaust, never again for 9/11, we should mean it. Never again for socialist dictatorships and people being gunned down in the streets, we should mean it. Pam Smith, talking with liberals is truly useless. They are truly blind. Pam Smith and everyone out there, stop calling them liberals. They're not liberals. I want you to go and read a little bit about John Locke, who is the father of classical liberalism. John Locke believed in the inalienable rights of the individual coming from what he called natural rights theory. They are naturally endowed to you from your creator God. Those rights that he talked about were life, liberty, and property. That's classical liberalism. Classical liberalism is all about individual rights and freedoms. These people today are progressive socialists. They're not liberals. They hijack that word when we, as conservatives, are the real classical liberals. And start calling yourself that. And then ask them, what kind of foolishness are you talking about? Because it's not liberal. Okay? Again, you got to educate yourself on these things. Go back and study and read up a little bit about John Locke and what he said. Because guess who studied and read John Locke? Thomas Jefferson. Because America is the manifestation of what John Locke talked about with natural rights theory. That your inalienable rights don't come from another man or a king or queen, whatever, congressman, senator. Your inalienable rights come from your creator. Of these being life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, not someone coming along saying they're going to try to guarantee your happiness. Whenever someone tries to guarantee your happiness, you're a slave to them. I will not be a slave, and you should not either. Oh, speaking of which, not just Ralphie Northam, but what about his wife? Trying to give some little black kids cotton balls and asking them to think about being a slave? Whoa. Didn't hear anything else about that now, did you? This is the party of no standards. And this is the party that seeks to destroy the United States of America. Okay, last couple questions. Tara McCroskey, loving that power t-shirt, Colonel. Hey, go Big Orange, Rocky Top. Karen Taus Brennan, no one is happy unless they depend on our God. That's right. Put your trust in God, not in man. Chris Williams, are you going to be at Rolling Thunder this year? No, I am not. But for everyone that is around the Dallas, Fort Worth area, North Texas area, next week, Saturday, which is the 16th of March, we're going to be doing a ride from Strokers, Dallas. They're on Harry Hines in Dallas, Texas, up to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, the home of the Field Artillery, Redlegs, all of us. And we're going to take a tour of the Fort Sill Museum. We got a nice spot. We're going to go over and have some burgers, and then we're going to ride back down to Strokers, Dallas. So next Saturday, March the 16th, Freedom Ride, Strokers, Dallas. We kickstands up, I believe, at 7:45, and then we head up to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, for a nice tour of the Fort Sill Museum, and we come back down. Fort Sill is where it all started for me as a young second lieutenant, 1 November 1983. I'd love to ride with you all up there, go through Wichita Falls, and go to the Wichita Mountains there overlooking Fort Sill and show you where it all started for me, and also where my nephew is stationed right now. Zilladilla, they're Bolshevik commies. I think you wrapped it up pretty much. Adrian V, give the people bread and circuses, and they will never revolt. And let me tell you something. That's what happened in Rome. It's called panem et circenses, bread and circus. They gave them the gladiator games. They kept them distracted while Rome fell apart. Do not let people just give you the bread, the crumbs from their table, as Nancy Pelosi would say. You have the inalienable right to be able to go out there and pursue your own happiness, pursue your own dreams. Be happy, because earning it yourself is the great reward of living here in the United States of America. It's the reason why so many people come here, because in America, it does not matter where you were born or where you come from. It's all about what's right there in your heart. And the progressive socialist left, they don't care what's in your heart, because they don't see you as an individual. They just see you as part of their collective machine. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rasheda Talib, Ayanna Presley, I think that's her name, Bernie Sanders, Bob O'Rourke, Julian Castro. All of these people are just manifestations of Karl Marx and Frederick Engels. But if you've never read that book, then you're lost in the woods and not know what I'm talking about. Educate yourself, because my people suffer for lack of knowledge. That's straight out of the Bible, folks. We don't want to suffer anymore in America. We want to be armed here and empowered there, so that you can go out and profess that which is truth, justice, and the American way. Taking up enough of your time. Alan West, signing off. Thanks for being a part of our welcome mat, my first Facebook Live in our new house here in Garland. We'll see you around. See you in 2 weeks. God bless you. God bless my home state now of Texas. And God bless these United States of America. Rocky Top. Bye-bye. Oh, Adrian V, I did not see your question about expanding medical marijuana in Texas. This is the thing. If it's controlled, that's fine. I don't want to see people become addicted to marijuana, and I know that there's a way that you can extract the THC out of it as well. So again, we got to make sure we have the right controls on it. Okay? That's my answer.